ಇದನ್ನ ಹಾಕುದು ಹಿಂಗ ಹಿಂಗ ಹಾಕುದಾ ತೆಗಿಯೋದು ಇದರದಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ ಐತಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಉಬ್ಬಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉಬ್ಬಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹಂಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳ ಹಾಕ್ರಿ very care about her health. She had very love on this condom. Everybody had very much love.
ಇದರದಿಂದ ಜೀವನ ನಮ್ದು
ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡು love everybody love
ಇದರದಿಂದ ಜೀವನ
Sex workers will always exist as long as there is a demand. So it's not the sex workers who are the cause. The cause are the men. As long as the men exist, as long as men want sex workers, the sex workers will appear.
India is a land of contrasts. It is home to ancient civilizations and the setting of an ultra-modern economic explosion. The old and the new are intertwined in a beautiful and chaotic dance. Inevitably, perhaps, with the many changes, globalization has also brought HIV and AIDS. Shiva Halley is a professor in Canada, but his roots always remained in rural Karnataka in southern India, where he grew up. Through ingenuity and determination, he fought to gain an education, eventually arriving in Canada, where he taught for many years. But in a twist of fate, personal tragedy drew him back to his beloved homeland.
Every 2 years I come to India to visit and keep in touch with my folks here. But in the late 90s, when I was making one of these visits, I was told by some of the village people that some of the young, especially the unmarried ones, who have been out of village for their seasonal work, they have been infected by this mysterious virus and they are not doing well. When one of my family member, my brother's son, about 37 years old, he had a family, had 2 children, and suddenly died of AIDS. So that I thought I took up on myself to do something for this who are villagers, who are not much educated, who are not aware of the transmission dynamics of the HIV. Then I kind of try to understand this whole the HIV/AIDS situation.
Sex workers are at the front lines of the struggle against HIV. For that reason, Professor Halley directed much of his efforts towards women who work in the sex trade. In conjunction with local, national, and international organizations, Professor Halley helps operate the Corridors Project. It involves outreach programs such as condom distribution and sexually transmitted disease testing in order to stem the rising tide of HIV. The Corridors Project succeeds for a simple yet insightful idea. The women teach and care for each other with a little help from Shiva and his colleagues. The concept of peer-to-peer education has proven to be a very effective strategy. The Corridors Project recruits sex workers and trains them, and then they in turn pass the knowledge on to other women who work in the sex trade.
ನಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದಲ್ದಾಗ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ರೀ 4 ಮನೆಗಳು ಅದಾವೆ ರೀ 4 ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ದವಾಖಾನೆಗೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ HIV ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಮತ್ತು TB ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಿಂದೆ ದವಾಖಾನೆಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಆಗಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ರೀ ಅವ್ರ ದವಾಖಾನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ ರೀ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬರ್ತೀವಿ ರೀ.
Corridors also provides a safe haven for sex workers and their children. In the Bijapur office, women from many different brothels can meet and openly discuss aspects of their lives in a safe location.
This is another room. That is the other room. Come on, cheers. Actually,
unlike in most other developing countries, the origins of the HIV epidemic in India are located in the countryside.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಪದ್ಮಾರಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪಾರ ಹೆಸರು ರಾಮಪ್ಪ ರೀ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಡ್ಡ ಹೆಸರು ಹೆಬ್ಬಾಟಿ ರೀ, ಊರು ಸಿರ್ಬುರಿ, ವಯಸ್ಸು 22 ರೀ.
Northern Karnataka is considered as the epicenter of the epidemic. I being brought up in this part of the world, and when it has happened in a small village like mine, and which is the case for most of the villages, so we decided that we will take up our earlier intervention programs in Northern Karnataka.
Does she think she'll do sex work for the rest of her life?
ಅದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಾಕ್ತೀನಲ್ರಿ, ಅದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆಸೆ ರೀ. ಈಗ ಹೇಳಿನ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕೆಲಸದ್ದು.
Indian women arrive in the sex trade by very different avenues. Perhaps the most fascinating, if not the most disconcerting, is through the Devadasi system, an ancient tradition with a modern twist.
The literal meaning of Devadasi means, Deva means God, Dasi means servant. These are all servants of God.
ನಾನು ಇದು ವೃತ್ತಿನೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ರೀ, ಹಾಡ್ಕಿನೂ ಹಾಡ್ತಾನು. ಹಿಂಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ದೇವದಾಸಿ ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಳ್ರಿ ಆಕಿ ನಮ್ಮವ್ವ. ಅಕ್ಕಿ ದೇವದಾಸಿನ ಇದ್ದಳ್ರಿ, ಅದು ಆಡ್ರಿ ನಮ್ಮವ್ವನು.
The families of lower caste, historically, they used to dedicate one of their girls to one of the goddess to serve the temple. So in the past, most of these girls used to be mainly the classical dancers in the temple. But also they used to do a lot of rituals in the temple. And we also hear that they used to do sometimes the sexual favors to the priest. And they were also very much respected and provided certain status in the society because they were Devadasis who used to be like an artist in the village, the dancers, singers, and they also used to play some instruments. So that was the tradition. But in the recent history or the recent years, and as far as I remember, that it has become nothing but the glorified prostitution.
ನಂದಾಕ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮೂವನ ದೇವದಾಸಿ ಇದ್ದಳ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿನಲ್ರಿ. ಮತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ದುಡುಕಿ ನೀಗ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತು ಹಂಗೆ ಪಟ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನು ದುಡುಕಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ವೃತ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾರಣ ಆಕಿತ್ತು ಹಂಗೆ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತ ಹಂಗೆ ಹಾಡ್ಕಿನೂ ಕಲಿಸಿಲ್ರಿ. ನಾ ಅದನ್ನು ದಂದಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ರೀ, ಹಂಗೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ರೀ, ದಂದಾನು ರೀ ಇಲ್ಲೇ.
ದೇವದಾಸಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರೀ, ನಾ ಮೊದಲು ಸಣ್ಣಗಿರ್ತಾಗ ಮುತ್ತು ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ರೀ ನಮ್ಮವ್ವನ ಅಪ್ಪ ರೀ. ಅವ್ರ ಮನ್ಯಾಗ ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಳು ಒಬ್ಬರು ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ರೀ. ಅವ್ರು ಸಣ್ಣಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಕೂಲೆನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗತ್ತೇಳಿ ಮುತ್ತು ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಹ್ಞೂ ರೀ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಂದ್ಯಾಗ ಮುತ್ತು ಕಟ್ಟೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ರೀ. ಮೊದಲು ಹೆಣ್ಣಾಗಲ್ರಿ ಗಂಡು ಹಾಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ತಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ.
Poverty drives families to dedicate their daughters to the goddess Yalama and the Devadasi system. But this is not the only path into the sex trade. Many women begin sex work because there is simply no other choice. Being a woman in India can be extremely difficult. On virtually every major developmental indicator, women are worse off than men.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮದುವೆ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ
ಆಗಂದ್ರಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪಾರ್ರಿ ನನಗೊಂದು ಮಗಳು ಐತ್ರಿ ನಾನು 5 ವರ್ಷನಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಾಗ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಾರ ನನ್ರಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯವ್ರು ತಿರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪಾರ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗೋಣಂಟ್ಲೆ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎತ್ತೇನ್ರಿ ಅದೊಂದು ಮಗಳು ಐತಿ ಯಾರು ನೋಡೋರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎತ್ತೇನ್ರಿ ನಾ
Why did she become a sex worker?
ಇದು ಒಂಥರ ತ್ರಾಸ ರೀ ನಮಗೆ ಪೈಲದ ತಾಯಿ ತಂದೆ ಬಡತನತ್ರಿ ಇದು ರೀ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಂದು ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿನೇ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಸಣ್ಣಗಿದ್ದಾಗೆ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ 9 ತಿಂಗಳದಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗೈತ್ರಿ 9 ತಿಂಗಳದಾಗ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ರೀ ನಮ್ಮ ಅತ್ತೆ ಮಗನಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾ 6 ವರ್ಷನಕ್ಕೆ ಆದಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪರಿಗೆ ಜಗಳ ಬತ್ರಿ ಜಗಳ ಆದಿಂದ ಆ ಜಗಳನ್ಯಾಗ ನಂದು ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೂತ್ರಿ ಅವರು ಅದು ಸಮಾಜದವ್ರು 4 ಮಂದಿ ಕೊಡಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಕಳಿಸ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ತಂದೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದಿಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸರಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ರೀ ನನಗೆ ಸರಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಾರ್ದಂಗೆ ನಾನೇ ಒಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಆತೀನಿ ರೀ ನಾ ಹೋಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಾ ಸಾಯ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅಂದ್ರಿ ಅಂದಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ತಂದೆ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಿ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ ಅಂದ ಬಳಿಕ ಅವರು ನನ್ನ ಕೈಲೇ ಲಗ್ನ ಖರ್ಚು ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರಿ ಅವಾಗ ಬಡತನ ರೀ 6,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ದೇನೆ ತೆಗೆದು ಕೊಟ್ಟೇವ್ರಿ ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಹಂಗೆ ರೊಕ್ಕ ತೆಗಿಸಿ 6,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ನಮಗೆ ದೇನೆ ಐತೆ ರೀ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ತಂದೆ ದುಡಿಲಾರ್ದವ್ರಿ ಮುದುಕರು ಮತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನು ಹ್ಯಾಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಮುಟ್ಟಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ರೀ ಅದ್ರ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ನಾ ಬಾಂಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ
Socialized. So the social status of a woman is very low. In fact, demographically speaking, the Indian subcontinent is the only place in the world, like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India, where until recently the expectation of life was lower for women compared to men.
The nature of the work means that many sex workers are on the move. This also means that outreach efforts are all the more difficult. But it is not only the sex workers who migrate. Many of the men who use their services are also travelers, including the many seasonal farm laborers and India's innumerable truck drivers. These men spend many months away from home and their families. Loneliness and lust drive them to the women who offer their bodies for purchase. This also means that HIV has tens of thousands of constantly migrating carriers. In essence, roads crisscrossing the countryside are carrying HIV from village to village, town to town, and city to city.
So I would say that every 50 kilometers there is a truck stop, and in every truck stop there are dhabas. Those are the roadside restaurants, and who have girls. And sometimes I have seen that the truck drivers they pick up the girl in one place, and they do the sex in the truck, and they will drop them in some other place. So 10 clients he gets every day, at least 10 clients. So 1,000 ಆಕೈತೇನೋ?
1000 rupees ಆಗ್ತದೆ
So see, at least he earns about 1,000 rupees per day. So this whole question of poverty, this migration, of not only males but also the sex workers, I think driving the epidemic. So when we came, when we started the program at that time, that not many women had not seen condoms, not many women had access to condoms, not many women did know how to use condoms. So now there is a tremendous access to condom. There is like in terms of usage of condoms, in terms of lack of inhibitions, in terms of talking about condoms publicly.
Do her clients always use condom?
ನೀವು ಇದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕಾಂಡಮ್ ಯೂಸ್
ಹಾಂ ಕಂಡಮ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕಂಡಮ್ ಒಂದು ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನಂದ್ರೆ 1000 ಕೊಡ್ತಾನಂದ್ರೆ ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಕರೆಯಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಾರು ಮಾಡೇ ಇಸ್ಕೊಯ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು
ಏನು ರೀ ಆರಾಮ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾಂಡಮ್ದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೈತಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಅಗದಿ ಜೀವನ ಆರಾಮ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನರ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ 15 ದಿನಕ್ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ತೊಗೋತೀವಿ, ಕಾಂಡಮ್ ಇಸ್ಕೋತೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಅಗದಿ ಆರಾಮದೀವಿ ರೀ.
We are not going to be here providing the moral judgment. Rather, I would say that they have a right to do what they like.
So are you quite optimistic about the future?
Well, based on our last 5-6 years experience in Karnataka, we have shown that in no uncertain terms that the incidences are declining. So we are quite optimistic that the epidemic can be contained. The situation for sex work has improved. So I'm not saying that it has become the perfectly fine, but I think we are in the right direction.
No one knows whether the struggle against HIV will be won or lost. Nevertheless, the combined efforts of the sex workers themselves, along with people like Professor Halley, cast a glimmer of hope across the northern Karnataka countryside.
ನನಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗೈತಿ, ನನಗೂ ಈಗ ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳಿಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಬರಬಾರ್ದು, ಶಾಲೆ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು, ಆಕಿನ ಮುಂದೆ ಚಲೋ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಸೆ ರೀ ನನಗೆ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಭಾಳ ಆಗೈತೆ ರೀ. ನನಗೆ ಸಣ್ಣಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಾಗ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಭಾಳ ಇದಾಗೈತೆ ರೀ.